Yeah, it's not ready yet. Okay. Yay! Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have the amazing Adam Kokesh. For those of you who are not aware of him, shame. No, just kidding. But he's he does street talking. He has his own radio show. He unfortunately is a libertarian, but we won't hold that against him. Hello, Adam Kokesh.
Hey, thanks for having me on. No, it's an honor to be able to do this and to have someone, to invite me to have this conversation across such a distance that has been a divide traditionally. And I think one of the most beautiful things that we see happening in the world today, I want to start on a positive note. I'm outside on my homestead on the lanai, my little observation tower. We'll show you the sunset and some cool stuff in a minute here. But there's an awakening happening right now, and I talk a lot about the coronaphobia hoax. I actually like to call it the Karen-virus because it's turning everybody into a fucking Karen. But do you guys have that? Okay, yeah. See, there's this global internet culture too. Yeah. See, but it's like a dark, it's a dark cloud hanging over everything right now, and it's really hard to ignore the effects. In Australia, I mean, boy, did you guys screw this one up. No
That's
shit,
my
right?
Home state. My home state is the one that's making news everywhere. Melbourne, Victoria. That's my home state.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced Melbourne in America. Just so you know.
Melbourne. Because you guys like to round out your R's. Yeah. Melbourne. I say Melbourne. You guys say Aussies. We say Aussie.
Oh, don't make me bust out the Dumb and Dumber jokes. I will really embarrass myself. But let's. No, this is. I mean, the general criticism is that it's because you allowed yourself to be disarmed. There isn't that check.
That's happened in 96.
Power.
Yes, that happened in 1996. I don't know how old I was, but I was young. I was little, and all the guns were confiscated. It's technically called a buyback, so they were bought back. And we had 13 mass shootings, and then they got rid of them, and we've had no more shootings of that capacity. But that doesn't mean other crimes didn't go up. Yes, shootings for more than 3 people have stopped, but crime still went up in other ways. There's knife crimes. There's also more possession of weaponry. That's hidden.
There's large-scale government bank-sponsored corporate racketeering in the name of Corona that has put you in a position where if they say, "Oh, there's a virus out there," and I don't know if these jokes make any sense to an Australian audience, but I like to say that Corona is less deadly than testifying against Hillary Clinton. And anytime I mention her name, I have to say I am not now, nor have I ever been suicidal. The other one is what?
Hillary Clinton is evil. Any joke you make about her, most Australians will understand, because most woke Australians who are aware of politics know that she's evil.
But so the other one is that we're talking about a virus less deadly than trying to spend a counterfeit $20 bill in Minneapolis. That's a George Floyd reference. For those who hear it, I don't know if that's fading now. But
George Floyd didn't die of a cop doing that to him. He died of COVID. Did you not hear him?
And it's one of the worst ways you can die of COVID.
Yeah.
We have only here in the United States, there was a guy skydiving and his parachute failed to open. And right before he hit the ground, he died of COVID-19. And I mean, I gotta just, that's brutal, man. Like COVID can do that to you. But before we get into all of the important evil topics of the world, we've got. I hope you can see this well on the video.
I'll landscape.
There we go. Yeah, I live here on 10 acres in the mountains in Arizona. This is my way. My wife and I own this property outright. We're declaring our sovereignty here next year.
That's a bummer. You're married? No, just kidding.
and being able to live by our values here of not contributing to these systems and living happy and living well. You know, we've got geodesic domes. It's one of my businesses is building these geodesic dome frames.
What does that do?
It's a structure. It's a geodesic dome. You can, we have like that. So over here, by the way, this is our puppy Marilyn, and Marilyn just came on a little trip to California with me. You just give me kisses. Oh, kisses. That's a good girl. Yeah. So I got this amazing. Oh, she can't get enough. That's a good girl. Yeah, we had a lot of fun going to California this weekend. She got to go to the ocean for the first time. It's just about 7 hours away from us here. And as much as I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, we're in the middle of everything awesome in the Southwest. And, 7 hours, 6 hours from LA, maybe 7 hours from the beach, 12 hours San Francisco, 8 hours Salt Lake, hour and a half to the Grand Canyon, hour to Flagstaff, 2 hours to Sedona, 2 hours to Phoenix, hour to Prescott, 8 hours to San Diego.
In the middle of everywhere. Oh, San Diego, nice.
Yeah, and eventually we're going to have self-flying cars. I mean, it's only because of government that we don't have these already. So that we've got this 10 acres that's absolutely ours, that's fenced off, that we're building out to be our paradise. It's our way of living by our values. But anyway, here we've got down here, see if I can show that right. We've got a geodesic dome that's being shelled in cement to be an extra bedroom. And built into it is our cat house because it's really a perfect little cat house. And is Mama Cat still, Marilyn, where did Jade go? Is Mama Cat still up here? Well, maybe I'll introduce you to her later. But
do you have
Mama
any
Cat.
kittens around you? I know.
If you really want to see kittens, let's see if I don't lose my signal here. Well, StreamYard's pretty good about this. I got Verizon. I do live in a third world country, the United Soviet States of America, where the majority of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto are at least partially in effect. Look it up. You don't believe me. Anyway, fun little thing. We got a rocket stove oven here, so we can cook with wood and twigs. All right, so look, just coming out here. I'm talking, and here behind me in the cat house. Oh, here comes Mama Cat. Mama Cat, this is Jade.
That's Jade. Yeah.
And if you follow me on Instagram here at the Garden of Freedom.
Okay, I'll do it now.
Yeah, you'll see there's a video of her catching and eating a scorpion alive. So yeah, this is the bad bitch right here. Tortoiseshell cat. Her name is Jade. Stray, who showed up pregnant here and delivered this amazing healthy litter of 6 kittens. And so I've built this perfect cat house for them. I think they're going to come out. Are you guys going to come out?
What's it called? At the garden what?
The garden, at the Garden of Freedom. Where are the kitties? Oh, the kitties are still. The kitties went on a field trip today. They went to my studio. Mama, did the kitties? They went to my studio, which is. Well, let me see if they're inside. See, this thing has a removable lid, and it's waterproof. I don't think they're hiding in here, though, Mama.
It's okay, yeah. Dane's following you here.
No, they're not in there.
I got it. Right. That's
your Mama. Yeah. Yep. That's it. And I guess where are the?
I can see the kittens. They're so cute. Oh, you have a gray one with green eyes, a ginger one with blue eyes. Oh, tortoiseshell with green eyes. Look at this cutie.
Oh yeah. They're amazing, and they're growing. They're gonna grow into like having these stunning green eyes like their mama. They're shifting from gray to blue to green. So it's fun to watch. But
who's
today
I was just some tramp.
So I was well they just so we're gonna apparently people want cats like this. So there's a tomcat who wanders around here, black dude with white socks. But for some reason today, for some reason today, while I was doing my show, and right now I'm doing it, we're getting a new studio. It's really exciting. I'm getting a prefab shed building.
Nice. This is a bedroom wall. your bedroom wall.
Well, I don't really. My bedroom here is on the bus. I live on the campaign bus still, but I lived in this trailer for several years, the Freedom Mobile, and it's now. Oh, look at, can you see the moon in my shot here?
The moon? Yes, I can. Nice. Look
Yeah,
at
this
you,
is
in awe of all of God's glory. That's awesome.
the skies here are just amazing all the time. It's incredible. But for some reason, the kitties followed me to work today, and they came. Oh, here they are! Yeah, they're all still hanging out in the trailer. Look, there's Pumpkin,
Hi, babies.
one of the Grays. Why don't you guys come back to your house? Is Mom already kicking you out for the next litter? Is that what's happening here? I don't know how well you can see them all in the shadows, but it looks like they hang out as a little
one, and I see a black one, and I see two at the bottom near a mirror.
Cool.
So
Yeah. And it's embarrassing. It's a bit of a mess in here right now. But yeah, these guys are my kitties. And this one here is Pumpkin. He helped me win a debate online today. It's like they're like these cats. Like they came. Pumpkin, see if I take you back, you come back. You want to come back to the house? Let's go back. Let's go back to the cat house and see what happens. That's where the food is in the water. Let's see if the rest will follow us. Yeah. Yeah, they're so athletic too. These tiny little things, they can scale concrete walls that they can get their claws into. It's unreal to watch them do it. But yeah, they're going to be raised to be, the ultimate critter control cats, to the point of catching and eating scorpions alive.
Dear God. Yeah. So wait, is Jade gonna keep having babies, or are you're gonna have her desexed?
Yeah, I think we're gonna fix all the kitties, and let Jade have another litter or two.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then we'll see. Maybe retire her baby maker at that point. But it seems there's a bit of a demand for scorpion cats.
Oh,
scorpion control cats. So who knows? I might be an accidental cat breeder out
That's
here.
funny as. Oh, little Bubba.
Don't be fooled. This thing is vicious. It's like a gremlin. Don't feed her after midnight or get her wet.
So cute. Right, well, when you sit back down, we'll officially start the interview. But it's really cool seeing your place.
Oh, okay. Hold on. See? Oh.
That's what they like to do.
Oh, come on, Pumpkin. Let me put you down, buddy. That's my face. Oh, I'm not gonna do that when he gets any bigger. You got my nose. Yeah, so they got their little food and water dish there. And I got at least one thing I gotta show y'all before we really sit down here.
Okay.
And these trees are something else. I call them my survivor trees, because at one point this whole area was cable dragged and trees were knocked over.
Oh.
You see what happened there?
Yeah.
When I got here, this was a big gnarly bush. Obviously, I've trimmed it up. A lot of the trees around my property, I love these junipers. By the way, bonsai trees are the same species. These are just two different subspecies.
They're just itty bitty. Mm.
Yeah, it's just a miniature subspecies of juniper that people use for bonsais. These are Rocky Mountain and Utah junipers out here. But this one got knocked over and just said, well, I'm going to keep growing then. And the branches that were on the vertical side became the new trunks. And it just yeah. So there are a lot of trees like this around, a lot of them around here like this. This is my favorite, my prime example. I'm so glad that it's placed here. The way it's worked into the property has been amazing. But if you think about, waking up every day and seeing this and going, am I still breathing? Can I still put a smile on my face? It's kind of hard to have a bad day when out of your front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool as. That's a bit different.
Cool as. Okay, Aussie.
Well, that's cool AF.
Yeah, no, cool as. Isn't that like Southern California slang from 10 years ago? Like,
I don't know. I just know what I say here as an Aussie. Stop picking on me. No.
All right. All right, so we're back. We're back up at the command center. Marilyn wants to sit on my lap.
I hope everyone enjoyed that. That was a kind of little insight into your life, and you're very outdoorsy, I would say.
It's because I haven't built enough indoors yet here.
Yeah. Well,
no, I am. I love it. Sorry?
You don't do it all yourself. You have people helping you build that. Or you really one man doing it by yourself.
It varies. You know, a lot of the time it's just me and my wife and a co-producer and a couple people out here, and most of the work that gets done is me by myself. When I have, you know, bigger construction projects, you know, days when I need a bunch of people, you know, I got people who want to come out for a weekend. I've hosted some build parties, you know, for some of the bigger stuff and had fun with it. But yeah, to me, this is I hate to call it the American dream,
but for you
and make it's no, but it's my dream. It's the Gardenian dream, because really, I'm. Do you know what micronations are? I mean, that's part of it. But to me,
I've done a whole video on micronations. I've been a guest on someone else's show discussing that topic specifically. Yeah.
Yes. So you get this is the bottom up solution to political decentralization, and part of it is, yeah. So we are officially the sovereign, allodial, bountiful, constitutional Republican monarchy of the kingdom of the Garden of Freedom in perpetuity, or the Garden of Freedom, or just Gardenia for short. And
well, do you know that Dean McCrae and I live in Resolution? Did he tell you that?
No. How did we not get to that?
Oh, I don't know. But Dean and I live, so the land he lives on is going to be renamed Resolution, which is a sub property of Liberland, which is
yes.
Yes. Did you not know this? I don't know if you guys have discussed this. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
yeah.
Resolution, we live in Resolution. We haven't officially made it Resolution yet, and it's and this space that I live in will be the consulate or embassy for Liberland. It's so weird. Dean is such an oddball.
I gotta say, you don't really sound like a libertarian. You sound more like one of those crazy anarchists.
Anarchists?
Yeah.
I'm not an anarchist. I do believe in limited state, but I'm not part of the left-right spectrum. I'm not on that.
Declaring your sovereignty and all that. You must be one of those. You must be one of those crazy sovereign citizen types who likes to shoot at cops or something.
I'm legit crazy, but I'm not an anarchist. But I'm also not specifically completely a statist. I am a Christian, and I think as a Christian, I do believe we need to be ruled over by someone. So. Yeah.
Well, so I'm a pantheist, Wiccan, Buddhist, I guess you could say. If you want to put labels. Being Wiccan is so much more fun. I mean, I'm just starting.
But that's demonic.
It's really fun.
You're playing with powers you don't understand. You shouldn't be a Wiccan. That's dangerous.
I'm more into the naturalist, paganist side of Wiccanism anyway.
I can handle the Lana Loftef type of a pagan, but not Wiccan-y. That's a little too extreme. You think I'm crazy, bro? I think you've done the test for your strength, and you knocked the whole thing off. You knocked the thing off at the top. That's you.
Well, I've come to appreciate certain strains of Christianity as being righteous paths for people, and a way that for a lot of people Christianity is bullshit. For a lot of people Christianity is an exploitation racket, is a means of social control. And that I would say I don't think I'd have a problem saying that's the majority of the relevance of Christianity. But there are a lot of people I've come to appreciate in my life over the years for whom, I mean, I would like to say that they acknowledge the faith aspect of it, and that it's a construct by which they connect with the spiritual and understand things beyond rational scientific analysis that allows them to live a happier, better life. And I've come to really support that and appreciate how that informs a lot of people who are libertarians in terms of ethics and wanting to apply ethics consistently.
Libertarian? Just kidding.
What's that?
I said, don't you mean lolbitarian?
Yeah, right. Okay. We'll address that if we have to.
We'll touch on whatever.
But like this is the foundation of libertarianism is ethics, and right. And so like when right, self-ownership, non-aggression principle. I own myself, you own yourself. The best way for humanity to get along, the only ethical way, is I can get on board. If we respect that, and this is why libertarians say taxation is theft, and it's not just like, oh, we don't want to be stolen from, we want to keep all of our money. It's that when you allow an institution to steal from people at the scale at which government does, it creates not just an affront to capitalism, to our potential of harmony and free trade in a voluntary society, but it really holds back humanity in a lot of really powerful ways. And so just embracing this basic concept of ethics, it gets to the point, like one of my first exposures to the intersection of Christianity and libertarian ethics was as a Ron Paul supporter, reading up on Christian just war theory as an important basis when we were talking a lot about constitutional powers. We were talking about the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan. I was in Iraq for 7 months.
I researched this. I was going to ask a question about it, but we've sort of gone no man's land. So we'll just go through the trees.
Well, hold on. I have some more questions for you here, because like this is when you see this.
We can do it the other way around next time. I'll come on your radio show.
Well, we'll see how well you answer these questions.
I don't know.
You really should be on Adam versus the Man, but we'll get to that. No, I mean the idea of a Christian just war is that it's defensive, it minimizes casualties, it's a response to aggression, it's not an initiation of force, and you can bring that down to the individual level, right? And that's what we do as libertarians. Libertarianism isn't a political philosophy; it's an ethical philosophy. Sort of within libertarianism, like, and I debated a socialist today, and I said, look, the way I define capitalism as a system of, like the dictionary definition of capitalism, when applied correctly, can include socialism, can include communism, can include conservatism. And like the way I say it, and to me, this is the modern version of, I may disagree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. If you're an ethno-statist and you want to live in an ethno-state community, and you go out and you buy or homestead land, and you don't force your views on anyone, and you're totally peaceful, like I think that's disgusting to judge people primarily by race. I'll never live there. And by the way, I'm half German, half Jewish. I'm like genetically programmed to be racist and hate myself. So,
I know you're Jewish. And I was actually going to ask you, because a lot of my audience, what is it? Is that a spider? Oh, okay.
No, my nose.
You were doing, yeah, your nose. I could pass for a Jew. I could pass for Sephardic Jew. No? Fair enough.
No.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it all the time. I get idiots saying to me, oh, you're a Jew. And I'm like, I'm not, but if I was, I don't care. But they're like, oh, yeah, I can tell by your surname. I'm like, sorry? What was that?
You can always claim it, No,
I used to claim it because I thought I was, because I thought I had Sephardic Jew. I did the DNA test, but then the test updated, and then I wasn't Jewish anymore. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
So I'm not.
So we know from
update.
And they're not reliable by themselves. They're just indicators. But it verifies our family history of my grandparents leaving Hungary to avoid World War II. She's on my mom's side.
You have tattoos, so you'll never ever be in a Jewish cemetery.
Oh yeah, no, I am a really great self-hating
You're a bad
atheist
dude.
type. No, I'm not an atheist, but no, I'm definitely not an atheist. To me, being a pantheist means something. And now I hear all the kittens meowing down there. I wonder if they're coming back home. No, when I'm talking about libertarianism as this application of ethics, you know, if you want to live in an ethno-state, that's disgusting. I will never live there, and I will never materially support you, but I will also respect your right to organize a peaceful community based on whatever dumb standards you want, and I will judge them, but I will not forcibly interfere with that right. So I go to the flip side of the spectrum to make the point. If you're a gun-grabbing socialist who wants to live in a nudist commune in the woods, I'll take my entertainment value from a distance. I hope you have webcams set up, but I'm not going to live there. But if you create a system of socialism that's voluntary, that respects self-ownership, that's not coercive, that doesn't violate these ethical principles, I'm going to respect that you're calling that socialism and say that still fits under my rubric of what capitalism is, because you've created a voluntary system that respects ultimate ownership of the means of production.
I understand that, but what is it about an ethno-state that you find like disgusting? You think Japan is disgusting, South Korea is disgusting?
Well, no. Okay, so no, it's not so much that it's disgusting, and I don't think those are ethno-states the way I'm defining it. No, right, but and pardon me if you have a different use of the word ethno-state. This isn't my shtick. I don't like make a big deal out of this. I don't really care.
But you brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
Sure. No, but I mean an ethno-state as in like defined by ethnic exclusion. Okay.
But that's the point of an ethno-state. The point of an ethno-state is that you want one tribe to be together. You want homogeneity. I'm Latina.
Ethnic
I don't belong in
homogeneity.
Australia. Yeah,
Right, so,
I don't belong in Australia. Technically, I should be in Colombia or Spain.
Should be. I don't think that really applies. And so maybe disgusting is a bit of an exaggeration. I think there's a lot of disgusting ideas that go along with it. But no, when it's a system of forced exclusion, it's dumb. It's really dumb. I mean, but racism. It is to make culture. Culture's dumb.
Okay.
You want to get into that? You want to do that? You want to go that way?
I don't know. My audience will hate you, I think. They're like, well, wait, we believe in an ethno-state. I'm neither a civic nat, nor am I a nationalist. So I'm sort of somewhere in a weird, I don't have a position on that specifically, but I understand the nationalistic argument and I don't find it disgusting. But I also don't want to go anywhere else. I'm happy here in Australia.
The thing is, I find it's not necessarily disgusting. If there's an element of dehumanization associated with it, that is disgusting. But it's dumb and it's limiting.
It's limiting if you want to impose yourself onto that land, but you just said you don't. You said that if Japanese, you didn't use that. I'm saying that the Japanese want to exist as an ethno-state, that's up to them. If Israel wants to exist as an ethno-state, that's up to them. Sweden, Sweden used to be an ethno-state, and now it's full of Muslims, and they're getting raped. Like, I think ethno-nationalism on some level makes sense. On some level. Respond.
Well, at some level, when we didn't know who was going to pick the cotton without slavery, it certainly seemed like slavery was the only way. And I think when you don't have a better way of judging or differentiating people or handling bad actors, there might be short-term consequentialist arguments to be made for government policies that are coercive, that are based on, ethnic designation. But I think the negative, even in the short term, the ends don't justify the means, and the negative consequence of that is better addressed by addressing the greater injustice of the state. Like I'm all for natural groupings, people coming together, congregating based on culture and preferences and values.
It happens naturally, though.
Right. No, and to an extent, that's okay, and that grows out of our natural evolutionary state. But part of human development is being able to judge people on deeper levels. and like if you right, and if you go back, even just a few hundred years, I mean, really in some places now, but like a few decades in a lot of places in human history, when you didn't have better means of judging and understanding people, you go, okay, well, I can judge you by your skin color, and it's better than nothing. And if that's all you got, like that sucks, but that's okay. And we learn better ways of understanding and getting along with people.
I absolutely agree with that, because we are more than our complexion. We are more, the content of our character should come into play more than anything. I agree with, but like in terms of the ethno-nationalist argument, I do think that a lot of that is natural. But then, of course, there are couples that pair up who are not of the same race, and then that's fine.
Well, so I want to give some ground on an important point to the people who are raising those kinds of issues, as you are making the case for ethno-statism.
I'm being a devil's advocate. I'm a devil's advocate.
Okay,
sure. I'm not completely for it, so I was just
right.
I don't find it disgusting or as bad as you do. That's all.
So one of the problems with how we look at this issue is a problem with how we look at a lot of issues involving government policy, and when it's government incentivized or forced migration, then you're warping the freedom of association decision-making matrix, so to speak. And if you're creating incentives for people to mix who shouldn't or are going to have consequences or clashes because of government policy, that's different. And I think we can agree that ultimately, I'm a fan of the Bulworth strategy. We just need to keep fucking each other until we all come out the same color. But until we get to that point, there's a natural, that the melting pot of the great human petri dish, I'm half German, half Jewish. Like, how the fuck do you explain that? It's not, the colors aren't very interesting. But yeah, look at you. No, that's and I don't mean to say forget heritage or
but that's what you kind of said, that the Incas are gone. No, not the Incas, the Aztecs and the Mayans. This is sad. I don't like that they're gone. I don't want people to keep meshing and create one color. I want the difference of oh my gosh, you drink so much water. I want the differences of the cultures and of the languages. That's why what you said made me sad. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because what makes us different is so special, but you just want to amalgamate it into one big Play-Doh. I don't like that.
Well, we're all going to upload our consciousness into computers anyway, into robots. We're all and it's happening right now. Like, this conversation is part of the development of the human. Okay, I'm being a little facetious now. No, but there's a natural trend, and it's towards it is towards greater cooperation and greater harmony, and this is inherent to the nature of life itself. And I think, I think there's a lot of importance to be placed in the work of Professor Steven Pinker. I reference him a lot, Harvard professor, who has proven that not only are we living...
I can't be that intelligent. No, just kidding.
Right? Not only prove that right now we are living in the most peaceful times in human history, or you are less likely than ever before to die at the hands of another human being, but this follows a natural decay curve over time. And I disagree with a lot of his interpretations of his data, but his basic
I'm disagreeing with you right now. Yeah.
No, the basic conclusion. What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you look back over. Go ahead. No, I want to hear what you.
I said I'm disagreeing with you right now, but we're still buds. I was just being silly. Keep going.
I thought you said Crips and Bloods. No, gang violence really does not compare to Genghis Khan. Where did you learn?
That's what my people do.
What are they teaching in Australian government schools about world history? I'm very disappointed. But I guess that's how they got you all fooled into accepting this ridiculous lockdown where apartment buildings get turned into prisons. No, so we are living in the most peaceful times in human history, and what this connects to for me is a much deeper element of the progress of life itself, where multi-cell organisms beat out single-cell organisms, all the way to human communities that are able to cooperate and practice capitalism and free trade and employ ethics, because it's a better understanding of how to live, are able to have specialization and cooperation and commerce and outcompete societies that are constantly at conflict. And that greater expansion of our circles of influence is now and we already, I mean, you and I living in first world countries are kind of take it for granted that I forget what the number is, but it's something like 2/3 of the Earth's population still doesn't have regular access to the internet and is about to get it. Like about to get the internet is about to get that much bigger. Whatever that number is, it's huge. And just you see. I mean, I kind of can I look this up? Do you mind if I'm gonna phone a friend. This is like an important statistic. How much of the world population has internet? And wow, the kittens are like really going nuts. Are they all back? Oh,
it's getting darker too.
We have to bring all the other kitties back. That's just Pumpkin by himself making all that noise. All right, Pumpkin. When this is over, we'll get all your brothers and sisters. Okay, so it's pulling it up now. Yeah, okay, so here it is. The global internet penetration is 42% as compared to 84.2% in the United States. So in the US, you can kind of take it for granted that pretty much everybody, if you don't have internet yourself, you have access to it, but and the huge benefits that we take for granted that go along with it. But globally, 58% of the world's population doesn't have internet, and they're about to get it in the next. I mean, it's not important to get these numbers exact, but you get a sense of this. Like in the next 5 to 10 years or something like that, the rest of
the world will finally catch up.
The world is going to get plugged in online, and the delineations of nation. I mean, really, what does that? Because a nation happens to coincide with ethnic groups sometimes, but
Often,
what binds a nation is that government authority that you are all victims of the same state, and that's a shitty thing.
Borders? You sound like the type of person.
No. I want no.
What's this? What's that? I don't want a bunch of Sudanese people coming here, raping our women. I don't want a bunch of Chinese people coming here buying all of our property. I don't want a bunch of different types of people coming here based on the fact of, one, the pattern of that group's behavior, and two, how it affects the people here. Like, I want to be safe, and I think So what are you about? I'm a bit confused about the borders with you because of let's all just become beige. Yeah.
If I may put you on the spot, I think you're actually displaying a much more dangerous pattern of behavior, justification for a much more dangerous pattern of behavior than anything you mentioned.
I'm going on statistical averages.
No. What you're displaying is the desire to control other people's property. And really what this comes down to.
I don't want anyone. Well, I might have, maybe that I did that by implication. I didn't mean it. I want
you do.
I want people to be happy in their space.
Okay, well that's different, but that's not what you said, and that's not what the position. That's not what the position of government borders implies. Let me finish. Because I don't remember the exact wording.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's okay. This is a really important topic because I'm not for open borders or closed borders, because the question there is one of central planning. It's accepting that government should set movement policy, or that government borders are legitimate movement limitations. And they're not legitimate borders. The only legitimate borders are private property borders. And it's like, what is private property? And so what you were displaying there, and maybe I misunderstood you specifically, but when you're saying, I don't want people in this area, you're having this arrogance of a central planner, like a socialist, saying, I get to decide who gets to live in all of this area. Like, look, I own my 10 acres here in Arizona.
I absolutely do as an Australian. I think that's true.
But you don't have the right to control people's property other than your own. You don't have a right to tell me.
I agree with, but don't I have a right to know? don't I have a right to make sure that no one comes into this house, 45 people I don't know come into this house and make a mess? Don't I have the right to be like, stay out? Yes, so why can't we apply that logic and that same logic to the nation and country you've been born and raised in?
Well, that's because that's the exact definition of socialism.
No. Socialism is something different. Think of Jonestown.
No. Socialism is an economic system based on communal ownership. You are setting within this government area a concept of communal ownership that says we as a society as a whole get to decide who goes in and out. So what I'm saying, let me finish this example with my property. I own my land. I have a right to invite anybody from anywhere on earth onto my land. And you don't have a right to stop them from going from their land or wherever they are as a guest to my land. The only right that you have is to decide who goes on and off your own property. Now, if you create a bigger voluntary commune, like I said, if you want to be socialist within this capitalist ethical, well, it sounds like you want to be a border socialist. You want a large community.
I don't want any part of that term associated with me.
Well, tough shit. That's what you're advocating for. You're advocating for border socialism. You're advocating for government borders having more significance than private property borders. And it's a really sad thing to point out that, for most conservatives.
I don't mind. Well, by the way, I didn't say I was a conservative.
In the bigger picture, and maybe this is more in American politics, but it really is a tragedy in American politics that conservatives have been fooled into thinking they're not socialists. Conservative, the definition.
Some people, perhaps some are. Like, you're pointing out something right now that does bother me, and I need to think on it and expand on it a bit more. But I know it's a good thing you pointed out, and thank you for that.
That's a beautiful attitude. And the thing with this, why it's so dangerous, is they have convinced conservatives in America that by being conservative, they're standing up against socialism and communism. Now, conservative directly means, in the political context, to conserve existing social institutions. And I'm not just extrapolating. Let's look at the actual policies and how this is true. Not only is Donald Trump, a.k.a. Cheeto Jesus, a.k.a. Cadet Bone Spurs, not only is he a former Democrat from New York City, but he is a socialist, a communist, and a fascist, as well as a conservative at the same time, because existing social institutions in the United States meet all of those definitions. The average American conservative supports socialized retirement, the continuation of Social Security, a form of socialized medicine with Medicare and Medicaid, socialized infrastructure with the government subsidizing the transportation, oil and gas industries with roads and other infrastructure, with the way that we socialize borders and control of movement, the way that we socialize so many other functions, defense, public safety, military, cops. Obviously, these things are socialism, whether you like it or not. You can't just say, well, I'm a conservative. My flavor of socialism is good because it's conservative. No, it's still fucking socialism. And now you look at communism. Is it communism? Let's reference, say, I don't know, the Communist Manifesto. It's got 10 planks. You know the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto? Let's not recite them. But if you want to look into this, test me on this. All of them,
you're going to destroy me on your show.
of the Communist Manifesto are at least partially in effect in the United States through the federal government. And the money's the big one. That we have the Federal Reserve, the fiat currency, the centralized currency program by which bankers can rip everybody off. But now let's look at fascism for a second. Now, I will admit that America still maintains, despite its systemic racism, a genuine desire to keep race out of our nationalism. That's not really in line with the American spirit or even the spirit of governance. The institutional racism is not, it's not insignificant, but it's not the driving factor. But fascism, by Mussolini's definition, is. And Mussolini said that fascism could be better described as corporatism, the merging of the corporations and the state. And Donald Trump is not only 100% for that, he was practicing that long before he got into government. We've seen him revealed recently, exposed as a fake billionaire. I've been saying this for years, and it's not like that. It's just now with the New York Times revelations with his tax returns, it's really an open secret. But even with COVID, if you followed this story, right, you've seen how much billionaires' wealth has gone up over the past 6 months. The real purpose of government is to keep the super rich getting super richer and keep the rest of us getting relatively poor. And it's doing an extremely good job. And one of the ways it does that.
You sound like an anarchist right now. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, I'm a voluntarist. I'm a libertarian. I mean, I support, voluntary community-based government that, and I support your right to be an anarchist in the sense that if you want to opt out at all and say, I don't want anything touching me that looks at all like a government. I want to live unmolested on my own property. Then yes, nothing should be forced on you.
Capital anarchism this sounds okay, and so does proprietarianism.
Well, I mean, some people would say that I'm the label ANCAP would apply to me, and I don't disagree with that. But if you want to call me that, I would say that what motivates me first is this voluntarist ethic at the core of libertarianism, based on self-ownership and the non-aggression principle. And one of the beautiful things about this is how it really can show humanity past this bullshit left-right divide, this artificial separation.
Completely agree. Oh my God. Okay, that's not the first thing, but that's one thing that you and I agree with majorly, the whole left-right BS. It's just so menial and petty and insignificant and stupid, and I'm so sick of it.
By the way, is Pumpkin, is that kitten bothering you?
No, I can't even hear it.
Okay, you can't hear it? Okay, good, because he's I can hear him over my shoulder. He's lonely.
I recently interviewed a man named John Euler, expert on child perpetrators. And his cats were just going off in the background. It was so funny. It was so cute. It made the little interview more lighthearted. So cute.
Well, when we're done here in a bit, I'm gonna have to go get the rest of the litter and bring them home from their expedition today. They seem to be unable to find their own way back.
That's cute. Well, we have about 20 minutes left until the full hour is done. So cute though. I love cats. So do you want to elaborate on the left-right paradigm? Or I could ask you a question. Here in Australia, and I don't mean this to offend anyone, but I feel like, this is true. Libertarians often come in, they're not cool like you or like Dan, taxation is that Berman. They're often heavy-set people, intellectual people.
Well, I'm working on my dad bod. I got my Amish beard coming in a little thicker. I mean, eventually it'll be big enough that I can grow out my neck beard and you won't be able to see it.
It's true. Libertarians are bearded people, heavy set, intellectuals, but they don't do much. They're not doers. You're a doer. My friend Dean, doer. Like, yeah.
Now, I think they're so.
Tell me, what do you think it is? Because they're very Sheldon-y.
Yeah, no, I can address that absolutely. And there's.
And I'm sorry to any libertarians. Whoa, it got dark. I'm sorry to any libertarians that just offended.
No, we're not easily offended.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going by my computer monitor light, and it might die here in a bit on my laptop. But anyway, so where to start with that? Because
yes,
first of all, I will reject your premise of libertarians not being doers. The rest, guilty as charged. But no, we are doers.
Okay, good. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay.
And I think, I mean, there's certainly some fat bearded libertarian trolls out there living on welfare who really don't do shit, but argue with people online. But that's a minority. I mean, by and large, libertarians are get shit done kind of people, and that's often what leads us to libertarianism. And there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are just like, well, I live it. I don't need to talk about it. you know, and
That's true.
like,
You are by being.
yeah, and out here,
Yeah.
like in this community and in homesteading, you know, you hear people say, well, you know, you want to pick a property where there aren't a lot of government regulations and building
Yeah.
codes and zoning bullshit. But you go, well, are they a libertarian, or are they just like, you know, stating what to them is obvious? And
Yeah.
that's, you know, for a lot of us, that's what it is. And I apologize. I'm gonna have to change my audio here.
Okay.
So we did lose the light. Do I have some?
Definitely.
Hold on. I
But
have
you look
something
better. You
else.
look better this way. No, just kidding.
Oh, thanks.
Oh my gosh! What's wrong with you? This is...
I went to California this weekend. I got some good stuff I've been missing.
Oh my gosh! Will this be allowed on my channel?
Yeah, you're gonna get censored. No, that was tobacco in a water pipe, obviously. As far as YouTube is concerned. I don't know if my camera will adjust, if this moonlight will take care of us, or if I should go get some other light source here.
You should be more prepared. How rude!
Well,
no,
it was such a well. It's because you slacked and we started late.
I did not. Well, you started late. You wanted to show everyone your stuff.
Yeah, but
I was here on time.
All right. I'm plugged in here. No, it's just my laptop died and I didn't expect it to, and so now I don't have. So there's you can see the moonlight behind me.
I can see colors. I can see light bulb colors.
We have those cool solar lights, but there somewhere behind me is also the moon. I promise. And it's like it's not that dark out here. I could probably hang up and reconnect, and it might adjust. But yeah, there's the moon. So now you can see me in creepy profile here.
I could totally see the moon.
Yeah, so I'm really representing libertarians well here. No, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna go get a lantern.
A lantern.
And I'm gonna be back. No, I'm gonna get one of my shop lights. I have
Okay.
I have shop lights. I'll bring one up here. Yeah, no, I'm sometimes StreamYard does this where it doesn't adjust. Like it's really not that dark out here. I mean, I'm walking around. You think I'm walking around in pitch black? I'm not. It's like
it
twilight.
does look like you are.
I know it does. It's kind of creepy, but no, and you can see the moon, but it's like it's twilight and dusk, and it's really not that bad.
You look for a lantern. I'm going to read my audience's Bible verse, which I forgot to do at the start of my live stream.
Uh-oh.
Psalms chapter 85, verse 2. Thou hast forgiven the iniquity of thy people. Thou hast covered all their sins, Selah. That's not a very good verse. That doesn't really have any. Let's see if there's any better ones. Verse of the day. Romans chapter 10, verse 9. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. That's a great one. There you go.
All right, yeah, I'm on the bus now. Now I can tell spooky stories.
Yeah, it does look like that.
All right, so you want the story about the bearditarians, the fat non-doers.
You just said that they were. Oh well, yeah. I mean, every group has them. I read a little status on my Telegram some time ago saying that I'm actually getting out there. I'm doing things, and I think I must have come across as a little bit postulating because I didn't mean to come off as arrogant, and I obviously did because I said, here I am sitting with legislators, assisting with legislation. Here I am helping my friend Dean with his campaign for the Eden Monaro. Here I am getting out there, doing all these different things. And then the reaction was, F you, Dia, how dare you say that? We are doing things because my essentially I said, if all you're doing is making memes and being a troll on the internet, you're not really doing much. And then the reaction from people is, that is so arrogant. How dare you say that? But I was like, well, what are you doing then? Like, what are you actually doing? Do you live off the government and are you just doing that? Or are you getting out there and working and actually doing things? And people get offended. Just because I work a little bit, not a whole lot, but I'm doing things. So yeah, and so it's not just a libertarian thing. It's a far right. I think it's definitely a far right thing, or at least it is in this country, because there's too few people who claim that they're doing good but not actually doing it. Whereas at least people can see that I am, and that makes me feel good because I'm trying to, like, help set up resolution and grow my profile so that I can spread this message of Christ as well as doing and immigration and all that kind of stuff. I liked the way you spoke. You spoke to a conservative and you made him feel really stupid. I don't think you meant to make him feel stupid, but he's like, no, we need to pay taxes. And he goes, dude, you're making me sound like a lefty. And you're like, well, dude, I'm just, it was good. It's sort of what you did to me today with the whole socialism thing. So I have a lot to think about. So you're very good. You're very good at, like, using people's words against them, which is a good thing because it makes people realize, like, and you did it to me and I don't mind. I'm still going to make this public. It makes people think. I like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you putting your finger on it that way. I am, in that sense, cautiously proud of my contribution to journalism with my YouTube channel.
Good. Yeah, you should be so good. You're an intellectual and you're cool. Those are not two things that usually.
I feel afraid right now to go out and talk to people on the street. It's really sad.
That is sad, because that's the state of the world.
I mean, I used to go to a lot of my famous videos are going, and I go not even representing anything political, but just going with a camera and a microphone and asking really insightful questions. And I think when I say, like, the part that I'm proud of is that when you think about what holds us back as individuals, it's also true about what holds us back as a society. Are not just the limits of our understanding that we are ever progressing, but in terms of attitude and orientation, when we indulge our denials and our instincts at the expense of rational thought, and then we end up in logical contradictions. Like the way you said it, in response to that way that I confronted you was, again, like, it was perfect. And most people can't do that. And, a big part of the awakening that I mentioned at the beginning. Yeah, see,
I can admit when I'm wrong because I'm wrong so often.
Being just, it sounds.
I have no arrogance to that.
It sounds obvious, but being able to admit when you're wrong is such an incredible challenge for most people. And
men in particular.
And I think Mark Twain's quote, he said, "It's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled." And that really sums up the challenge that we face as modern truth tellers. And I certainly include you as a powerful ally in this, and pulling away from unjustified authority. And there's something that when we do that, what is it that we experience emotionally, psychologically, when we refuse to admit that we are wrong? It's shame, it's fear, it's guilt, but most importantly, it's fear. It's fear of being exposed, right? And there's something in the modern awakening driven by the internet in a lot of destructive ways too. I mean, you look at teenage girls' suicide. I watched The Social Dilemma recently, good documentary. You look at girls, preteens and teenage girls, suicide rates associated with Facebook use. It's literally insane. But I think that the broader positive effect is creating one of self-acceptance. And to not be afraid of yourself. But it's trauma. It's the trauma that we are evolving out of as a whole global human family, the trauma of our past, to create a more peaceful, more harmonious world where we stop being afraid of who we are and ourselves. And what that manifests is what you so beautifully displayed. And just, I'm going to have to think about that. Even just that is more than most people are capable of. And what you talk about, or what you mentioned, I really do appreciate you pointing this out about my work, is that in my man on the street videos, I either you're going to acknowledge that I just pointed out a contradiction, or I'm going to poke at it and I'm going to make you look really dumb. And that's fun, not for the person in that video, but for the audience who's like, well, if he was interviewing me, I probably would have said the same thing. But now I go, I really don't want to ever be that guy. I'm going to have to think this through. And there's a beautiful, like, really, a lot of the spiritual types call it the ascension. But there really is an undeniable acceleration of the human experience on so many beautiful levels. Technology, understanding, communication, connectedness, global awareness, mental health, self-acceptance, love. And it's going to be accompanied by a superfluous ability to meet human material needs of not just food, water, shelter, clothing, but energy and data and access to technology. Like, we're not doing that already, that we allow the disgusting concentration. And this is disgusting. When you see how much we allow to be stolen from us through government by fraud, through banks and major corporations, and government is the linchpin, it's the coercion, but there's a fundamental fraud to it, and the money is a big part of this. Use Bitcoin. Don't use fiat currency when you can. Use gold or silver, barter when you can. Don't contribute to the system. Like I said, why I live the way that we live out here is to live by these values of ethics, to say, at very least in my life choices, I am going to make a conscientious effort to not contribute to this myself. And a big part of the motivation for this for me is that I was a part of the fucking machine. I volunteered to go to Iraq, and I helped kill people, and I tortured people. And not only do I want to make amends for that, but I want to make sure that no one ever falls for that ever again. And militarism and corporatism together, arguably slavery and the treatment of Native Americans are, this great perversion of what Americanism is supposed to be. And in a sense, I'm an American imperialist. If the idea of America is saying, fuck you to the king, we're going to be on our own out here. We demand our freedom and independence, and we're going to take it if we have to. I want everybody on earth to have that. And I don't think we are fighting a tide here. I think we are accelerating the progress of humanity by saying we're not going to fall for bullshit authority. We're not going to endorse any of these ideas of forcing my will or my preferences on anybody else. We're going to respect each other's humanity. And that is the ascension that I see so beautifully happening right now.
And that work in its entirety, I am pro-life. I don't think that baby, there are so many pro-life libertarians, and then there are so many on the opposite end of that. But like, to value life is a libertarian stance. Often it is, but then they're like, yes, but the life of the mother. Do you know what I mean? And so often I find it that there's a duality there that can contradict.
There's a correct analysis that Walter Block has laid out and described as evictionism that recognizes both the fact that life starts at conception and is an independent entity, and the fact that it owns itself, and the fact that the mother owns herself, and that there is a certain obligation, and that it does recognize that abortion is ending a human life. Excuse me?
Yeah, you forfeit once the baby's in you. You no longer you work as a house. You home that child.
Exactly. That's why he uses the term evictionism. So this allows for, if you're raped, if you have a child forced onto your body, sorry, if someone breaks into your home and you want to kick them out into a snowstorm and they die in a snowstorm, you still have the right to kick them out. But if you're the landlord and they're your tenant, you can't just say, hey, you didn't pay your rent, now I'm kicking you out into a snowstorm and you're going to die. And so there, and same thing with, when it threatens the life of the mother, right? And that if I'm a landlord and you're a tenant and keeping you around is a threat to my life, I have a right to kick you out. Sorry. And here's where this comes down to policy. Right. No, and again, it's but this gives you you see the libertarian analysis here gives you a pretty easy ethical framework to tease this out and not twist logic or deny premises. You just describe you can describe it in a few sentences and go, oh, okay, that more or less makes sense. But here, what it comes down to in terms of policy is that you ultimately have to respect a mother's right to make that medical decision in private. You can't say that the state or you or any other individual has a right to forcibly deny a woman's right to medical privacy in making that decision. That's between her and that other life and maybe her doctor and her God. But that is not, you have no right and no government has a right to interfere in that. And in that sense, I'm pro-life, that I want to see society do everything it can short of that ethical violation that a lot of pro-lifers want to use government to do. I want to see us do everything that we can peacefully to discourage abortion, to make sure
I understand what you're saying. I get that. Yeah. It's tricky because if I could stop it, if I had the power to stop it, I probably would want to. I probably would action that. But I've never met someone who said to me, I'm about to have an abortion, and when, like, it's never happened where I would do that. And also we have exclusion zones here, so we're not allowed around abortion clinics to pray for them or whatever. So it's not like I could. But if I was having a conversation with someone and I told her not to do it, I would. And I know that's not my business, and people would say, well, that's not up to you. I would.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing: if someone is,
I would. I just would. I would break those ethical boundaries that you're referring to if I could.
If someone, but here's the thing: if someone if we had a universally ethical society and someone was and someone was tempted to have an abortion as a means of birth control by economic desperation, it wouldn't exist. In a society that values human life, when there's so many parents who want to adopt and there's value in that human life, even that we can manifest the material value necessary to support a woman through pregnancy and disincentivize that it so overwhelmingly that it seems silly to ever have an abortion, except when it's a threat to the mother's life or it's forced on her in some way. And again, if you casually met another woman who said, I'm having an abortion because I think that I have this weird condition, the doctors tell me that if I allow this pregnancy to go another month, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to die. I'm not willing to put my life on the line for, ultimately a small chance that this child would survive and possibly be motherless. This is an unsafe pregnancy as it's happening now. You wouldn't intervene in that. You wouldn't go in as someone who is just a compassionate pro-life person and say, well, that's different to say, to pray and support them. But you wouldn't say, well, I don't know. I don't think your doctor's right about this. I think any mother has the right in her body to decide when it's a threat to her life. And I wouldn't want any woman denied. I wouldn't want any institution in society to have that power. And again, even if to decide, is this forced on you? Do you really want to imagine a baby growing inside you that has been forced on you and having to wait for some external authority to review surveillance tapes or rape testimony or character witnesses or anything like that? No.
I already said that. If I got
no, and that's great. I totally respect your right to do that. But again, if it's the even if it's a health thing, would you accept an external authority, imposing their violation of privacy as a right to review if you have a medical?
I would. I'd be like, why does this board need to make that decision?
Right. If the doctor tells you, and this happens, this is not a fringe scenario. There are pregnancies where women in this world are told, hey, we need to have a medically induced abortion now, or you are going to die very soon. Like it's not that common. I'm not trying to exaggerate or fear monger.
No. But I'm sure it happens. I'm sure there's a way that the baby they could attempt to save the baby even in that scenario though. But I see your point.
Even then, get government out of it, have a society that properly values human life, and you'll have them instead of you praying at a Planned Parenthood, you have the resources to organize, to disincentivize, and to create the medical technology and have the resources go to research and development to save traumatic pregnancies. And I think that's awesome. And like I said, I'm extremely pro-life. And
you sound like you are predominantly pro-life, yeah.
Every abortion is a failure. Every abortion is ending a human life, and it has to be addressed with respect that way. But in a sense, you could say policy-wise, I'm entirely pro-choice, and that I don't want the government to have anything to do with it. And if you say, I want government to address the problem of abortion, and you really give government the full power to exercise all of its authority, it's going to backfire on you so bad that within a year, men will be having abortions. So yeah, we can end that one on a dumb joke.
No, yeah, that's completely fair. Well, look, I've really enjoyed my chat with you. I didn't really get to touch on anything that I really wanted to talk to you about, but we actually went on awesome tangents, and I actually really enjoyed myself, so that's kind of cool.
Well, I have to go rescue some kittens now, dear. But I will say that a few important ways to hook up with me if anybody wants to connect with me online. And I'm very accessible. You know, I'm really easy to find. If you send me a good email, I'll read it on the air. I am live. I'm live Monday through Friday, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's a lot of live time. If you want to give me content, we have a lot of ways to plug in at adamversustheman.com. I have a great team behind me. We have a lot of fun with the show. And if you want to, if anything I've said in this conversation has intrigued you, please, indulge it. Like that's how all of us weird, fat, bearded non-doers became libertarians. There was this. I kind of skipped over this. I want to answer the question because libertarianism does attract an autistic personality type. I'm on the spectrum too. God damn it, no, but it's true, and you observe this, and it's yeah. I know. Well, yeah. It's a spectrum. We're all on it by definition. But no, and I have my own autistic tendencies. But there's one. I mean, there are a couple things that combine to drive that demographic trend in the libertarian movement. And one is that, the main one is that we're motivated as activists by a deep-seated sense of injustice. That we see something wrong in the world and go, fuck this. I'm not okay with there being victims. If I can stop crime, if I can stop injustice, I want to do something about it. What it kind of goes along with the autistic mentality, and this is really imprecise psychology. I have an undergrad degree in psychology, and some of my professors would probably kill me right now for talking about it in such vernacular terms. But the idea of the autistic personality leads to certain kind of analytical mind, and there are cliches about this that are grounded in truth. And for a lot of us as libertarians, it was we saw some injustice in the world, we saw some systemic problem, we saw some contradiction about society that we knew affected people in a major way. And it's like, you give us a Rubik's Cube and we can't just let it sit there, we got to figure it out. And when all the cubes line up, you go, okay, libertarianism, ethics, just apply ethics to politics consistently, and we can make the world a much better place. So anyway, adamversustheman.com. I do my show 5 days a week, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. I understand it's morning in Australia. Obviously, it's just we've
just moved on to midday. It's 12:20.
Okay. All right. Well, it's just past dark here in Arizona. There's a beautiful, mostly full moon out. So then the other thing is, if you're interested in this property, I mentioned it before, follow us on Instagram. People who live out here, and there's always different numbers of people out here, different circumstances. It's a lot of fun. But we give everybody access, and then there's good kitten pictures. You can see the video of Mama Jade catching and eating a scorpion alive on our Instagram at The Garden of Freedom. That's our Instagram, at The Garden of Freedom. And then the other one's easy. It's just I'm kind of enjoying Twitter a lot lately.
I just followed you.
Oh, awesome! Thanks. Well, I should tag me in something or send me a direct message. I will see it. I'm very active there, and
I did,
um,
yeah.
I want to promote one other thing right now, if you don't
No, please
mind.
do.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
I had a really great debate earlier today with Dario Rahim, who identifies as a libertarian socialist, and he's justifying state taxation. It was, like the is taxation theft debate. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and someone Antoyas just organized it anonymously through this website called MakeThemDebate.com. And I don't want to sound like a corporate shill. It was a lot of fun today, and I think speaking to an international audience, being able to do what we just did, or any of the pulling out any of these issues. If you want to see this as a 2-hour debate, MakeThemDebate.com seems like a fun way to make it happen. So, Dia, I hope you get to promote that. And I want to say, just finally, one last thing. What we are doing in independent media, whatever it is, if you're at the end, if you made it to the end of this conversation, I want you to know that what we do. I'm a big tech optimist. We are humanity dancing forward, but the technology means nothing without deliberate, conscientious use. And for independent media like us, that means an active and engaged audience. So whether you like this interview or not, if you're watching her stuff, if you're watching Dia's content, share some of it. If you like my stuff, share it. When people
Sure,
ask,
share.
yeah, for we do our show based on Patreon support and merchandise, and it's great to have this opportunity to connect with a passionate audience that makes it possible for me to sit around and spend an evening with y'all. So, peace and love, y'all.
Peace and love. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to end the broadcast now and just quickly ask you.